Hello everyone, I'm Chief Meteorologist John Carroll. I just want to give you an update on the information that has been trickling in about the devastating tornadoes that have occurred in the Nashville area and portions of Tennessee. And again, this is such a massive event that we're getting pieces of the puzzle coming in as the National Weather Service, after the event, goes back and surveys the damage. And they survey the damage to decide how strong these tornadoes were, if they were tornadoes at all, if they were connected, and what the strength and classifications of these are. So let's give you a little bit of a history of what occurred just after midnight in central Tennessee near the Nashville area. We were following this cell here as it continued to gain strength, and here is Nashville off to the east of that. So as we migrate through time, and I'll stop this here for you at about, say 1:30 our time, so just after midnight local time. And again, north of the Nashville area is where we have our first reports of tornadic activity, or a tornado possibly on the ground. And I drew in this blue line here to indicate the path of this. And this whole storm complex continued to push forward in a fairly consistent cluster all the way through into the Knoxville area, actually, and then it was followed immediately by another line of strong and severe storms that moved on through at about 3:30, 4:30 in the morning. Now, then the National Weather Service went back and did some surveys, and what they came up with, and they did a number of different surveys, and here are the results of that survey. We had an EF2 reported just to the west of the city of Nashville, and then EF2 was confirmed by the National Weather Service, and then an EF3 right in through and around northern sections of Nashville, or right through central portions of it, and continuing through another report of an EF3, and then another report off further to the east around Mount Juliet. And again, if you just look at this, you can see that these tornado reports are fairly linear, or are in a very straight line. So what the Weather Service was very important to point out to us, and very strict about this, saying it's not a count of, okay, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tornadoes. No, these are just 5 surveys that they did. And they went back again on Wednesday, and they decided that it was one single tornado on the ground. It's called a long track tornado, and it was on the ground for 50 miles. And here's where that initial report was, just to the north and west of Nashville. A little bit better indications here for you. And again, it moved through Mount Juliet, continued on through to Lebanon, and just about 3.5 miles to the west of Gordonsville. And here are the stats on that. At its height, it was an EF3 with 160, 165 mile an hour maximum winds, but the path, 50 miles on the ground. That's what they are saying at this moment. They also went back, and there was another tornado possibly in that same cluster, but more than likely it was not on the ground. The tornado probably lifted back up inside the storm, because if you see here, there is a lot of mountainous terrain here, and it more than likely went up inside of the supercell and kind of backbuilt, and then dropped down just to the north of the Cookeville area, and that was an EF4 tornado, and those are packing winds at about 175 miles an hour. So that's so far what the reports are, and I just thought it'd be interesting to see what would happen if we had a 50-mile-long tornado, long-track tornado on the ground in Tennessee. If it started in Roanoke, 50 miles, it would get past Lynchburg. So just imagine, if you will, that type of devastation from Roanoke through Bedford into Lynchburg, if the tornado from Tennessee were in Virginia and it was long-tracked and on the ground for 50 miles. This path of devastation is extremely Well, it's just scary to think about. There's going to be more information about this. They're going to go back and continue to update us on whether or not those more tornadoes were connected or some other damage may be. They'll do this for days and days coming up. But I just wanted to give you an idea of where we are now with the information that we've gotten from the National Weather Service out of Nashville. That's been doing a wonderful job of picking up the pieces and giving us the information.